Hello, everybody, and welcome to day 2 of your E3 wrap-up. I'm Jack Gardner, and with me is Marcus Stewart. How you doing?
It's late, but I'm doing great.
It is super late, and you're probably doing great because you've made like 10 cups of coffee.
Yeah, 10. It's up there. Yeah, it's
So we have just wrapped up kind of what we are doing for day 2, which is Sunday into Monday. It is currently late in Monday morning.
it's late o'clock.
It is late o'clock. It is sleepy times, and we are going to do our best to give you a little recap of the day. We actually had recorded some stuff earlier with our good friend Joe Noop, but unfortunately that audio didn't turn out super great, which is unfortunate because that means we're redoing a lot of this. So we're going to try and be brief and cover a lot of this good gaming news and give you at least some hot takes. They might be a little bit lukewarm now that we've kind of been sitting on them for a while and we're really tired, so bear with us.
Okay. So, I guess today we kicked off things with Microsoft, who right off the bat gave us our final unveiling of Project Scorpio, which got the name of the Xbox One X. Not the One S, the One X.
Not the worst name.
No, not the worst. They could have stuck with Scorpio. It could have been Xbox Scorpio.
To be honest, I was kind of digging the Scorpio.
Like a cool laser etched scorpion on the face of the console.
Yeah, do it. Go for it.
Okay.
But Xbox One X, acronym Xbox, I think it's a pretty good name as far as game consoles go.
Yeah.
I mean, has there ever been a game console that had a objectively amazing name? Like you have what the GameCube? If you think about most,
How do you feel about the PlayStation?
it's a terrible name. It's a terrible it's good as far as like capturing the essence of what a console is, but it's
A Super Nintendo.
It's a station you play on.
Naming the console after your company.
That's a little bit better, I think.
Yeah, if Microsoft just called it the Super Microsoft box.
Just call it the Super Microsoft.
The micro box. Microsoft. It's late, guys. You see, we're in our rambling mode.
Yes.
But they showed the form factor. It looks like a 1S pretty much almost to the T.
It's smaller than I expected.
Yes, much smaller than I expected, which is great. And they showed off, or they explained that it's going to offer better load times and improved frame rate and resolution even for 1080p displays. So if you do not have a 4K TV at this moment, or when it launches on November 7th, then you'll still see some benefits, which is smart. And with the PS Pro, kind of following the PS4 Pro's footsteps.
I mean, it's not. I don't know that it's kind of the killer attraction that they were hoping it would be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not entirely sure they sold a ton of people on the Xbox One X with that presentation.
No.
I think they got a lot of people excited about the games that they were showing.
Mm-hmm.
But before we talk about that, how much did the Xbox One X end up costing, and when is it coming out?
So it will retail for $499, which I don't think surprised many people. And what was your second question?
When is it coming out?
It's coming out November 7th.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, which is you'll hear that date again as we go on. It's going to be a big day for them, actually.
Yeah. Well, so on top of just confusing holiday shoppers and parents and grandparents on what to get their kids, There are a bunch of new games coming out. Some for the Xbox One X, but most for Xbox One in general.
Yeah. And to clarify, the Xbox One X is not a successor to the existing Xbox One. They did confirm that all Xbox One games will be compatible with the X, as well as the existing Xbox One accessories will work on the X. So, as of now, there are no exclusive Xbox One X games, and I believe they said that will never.
What was the thing about PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds?
That's coming to Xbox in general, but when the Xbox One X launches, PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, if you play it on that system, will receive Xbox One X enhancements for it, so it'll perform better. But it's not exclusive to it, which is also, that'll be the case for other games they revealed. The other games they mentioned that will receive Xbox One enhancements were like Final Fantasy 15, Resident Evil 7, another one was Ghost Recon Wildlands. And they also touted free 4K support coming to titles including, Halo Wars 2, Gears 4, Forza Horizon 3 later this year.
Okay. And so what did Microsoft bring that kind of got you a little bit excited? Because they had a lot of games.
They had a lot of games. We can actually, if we go down this list, we can kind of touch on each one. The first game they showed was Forza 7, which is, Forza's kind of been the king of the racing sim series, and I'm not the biggest racing sim guy, but I like the Forza games enough.
I like when Forza goes kind of off book a little bit, like their recent DLC that kind of melded their world with Hot Wheels.
Yeah.
I thought that was brilliant. That looked like so much fun. Yeah,
and it's like they unveiled that new Porsche today.
Yeah, the Porsche 911.
911 GT R9S. It was
so many numbers.
It was a long name, yeah.
So many numbers.
I'm pretty sure, I thought of 9S as like near Automata. Like 9S was going to be in the driver's seat of the car. But yeah, and I mean, not much to kind of say about that game other than the kind of like the typical kind of talking points for most racers, like, dynamic weather effects and really realistic kind of time of day effects. It looked really nice. They promised more than 700 cars, which will be the largest collection of cars they've ever had.
That is a lot of cars.
That's a lot of cars. I don't think I knew that many cars existed.
You must have known more cars than that.
Maybe.
Existed.
I'm a stupid car guy.
Yeah, okay.
Actually. There's probably a Ford Model T in that game. So.
That'd be sweet.
But that's pretty much, unless you have something to add, that's pretty much all there was with Forza. After that, they showed one of the games that excited me a lot was a new Metro game.
Yeah.
Metro series, Metro Exodus.
I didn't get a chance to see that one, but I really like the Metro series.
Yeah,
I like it a lot.
Cool games. If you haven't played them, they're like post-apocalyptic games based off a series of books set in a post-nuclear war Russia, where its citizens have been driven underground because the surface has been irradiated, and there's a bunch of monsters and also some supernatural stuff going on with like aliens or whatever those things are.
It's like a bleaker version of Fallout.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Yeah, like if you stripped all the kind of humor that Fallout has and it was just really straight faced.
Yep.
And added some magic crap to it.
Yeah.
It's kind of what.
It was aliens, right?
Yeah, I guess. It's almost. It seems very paranormal, but yeah, I guess it's more rooted in science fiction, I guess.
Yeah.
Than straight up fantasy. But yeah, they showed a nice, cool little gameplay clip of your character. I don't know if it's Anton, who I believe is the name of the hero from the last two.
I can't remember. It's been years since I played those games,
Yeah.
but I still really like them.
Yeah, I played them both for the first time last year on the Xbox One remaster collection.
Good choice.
And I can't even remember the guy's name. I want to say it's Anton. But he was making his way kind of familiar Metro scenes, making your way through a dilapidated underground, battling those kind of mutated rat monsters. Really, really nice graphics and frame rate. And then eventually emerging in the surface world and showing off this really beautifully rendered, ruined kind of village that he explores and ends up getting attacked by this giant beast that he takes down with some crossbows, including an explosive shot.
Cool.
And then he zip lines to a steam train. A lady hitches a ride. And it's like, okay.
I can get on board with that.
Yeah,
Train pun intended.
I was going to say, like, you get on board like he did with that girl. But, yeah, I'm happy to see that series make its way into the current generation. It's one of the most unique series to kind of emerge from the last generation, especially in a genre as crowded as the shooter genre is. It stood out.
Yeah, if you haven't really been paying attention to the Metro series, the first one at any rate was kind of came out around a little bit after BioShock.
Yeah, actually a few years, because it was 2010.
Yeah, but like it kind of came out in this time when there wasn't a ton of like narrative focused first person shooters, and so it often gets compared a lot to BioShock.
Yeah. But with a lot more emphasis on survival. Yeah. Like your ammo
your gas masks.
Yeah, you have to monitor your gas mask, changing the filters, or you'll suffocate, and ammo isn't quite as plentiful, and like even your currency are bullets, so you're spending the things that you need to kill things with. But it's a good series. If you haven't played it, they're both available in that collection for current gen.
Yeah,
worth picking up sometime. But yeah, that's that didn't get a date as far as I know. Release as seen, so hopefully that'll be sometime within the next year or so.
But there are a lot of games coming out this year.
Yes, including this next one, Assassin's Creed Origins.
Yeah.
The best kept secret of E3. No one knew this was coming. It was a complete surprise.
Totally.
Everyone was floored.
We were
They
shocked.
could not believe that this was happening.
Oh my gosh, it happened.
Yeah, and if you're not aware, we're being really facetious. It was leaked to death. It was the leakiest ship of any game.
But still, it's something that I've wanted to see the Assassin's Creed series do for a long time, and that's go, like, ancient Egypt, go to Japan. Like, there are so many locations.
Those were two of the settings I've been begging for.
Yeah.
Like, Japan was always the big one for fans, but I was like, if they can't do Japan, do Egypt.
Yeah.
And not just for Assassin's Creed. I've always been fascinated with ancient Egypt.
Yeah.
And it's a setting that is woefully underutilized in video games. And I always thought, like, if one series could knock it out of the park, it's Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
They do a fantastic job of bringing those time periods to life.
Yeah. And I mean, the concept seems to, like, not write itself, but ancient Egypt was full of like giant construction projects, and so you can have these cranes and scaffolding to climb and giant structures. There are a lot of possibilities in that.
Yeah, and Egyptian culture was kind of like the birthplace and the origins of a lot of societal customs. And going even broader, like Africa being kind of the birthplace of humanity, it kind of fits for that being the birthplace of the Assassin's Creed Order. And it'll be interesting from a narrative standpoint to see how that comes to be, because in the fiction, Altair was the one that established the modern version of the Order and how it, functions. So, like, being thousands of years removed from that, kind of seeing what a rough template of that Order is like is pretty interesting. The gameplay demo that they showed looked really good to me. I mean, immediately, I think they did a smart thing of differentiating, saying, like, this is not going to be the same Assassin's Creed you're used to with that hawk that you have. So, like, the character's name is Bayek. Bayek. Yeah, I'm pronouncing that right. But he has this hawk buddy, who I don't know if he has a name, but it seems they've removed the tower aspect that has become so prominent in a lot of Ubisoft open world games, and instead replaced it where instead of climbing towers to kind of see or unlock new points of interest on the map, you just send your hawk buddy up, and he's like, you're controlling the hawk too, and
scouts for you.
Scouts for you.
Yeah.
and can identify enemies and find things that Bayek himself can't reach. And I was like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's different.
It's like you're carrying a tower around with you, except it's a hawk.
He's like the
Tower hawk.
the character from the Mummy movies, the cool guy that had the hawk. Remember the Brendan Fraser Mummy movies? There was like the one
Which guy?
Egyptian guy that was like his ally, and he had
Oh
the hawk.
yeah.
He got shot in the second movie.
Did he have an eye patch?
No, you have an eye patch.
I don't know.
Yeah,
what I'm thinking of.
He did have luscious long hair though, and he led like a pack of like
Mercenaries
ancient Egypt
or something.
dudes. That I don't know. Go watch those movies. No, I don't.
Yeah, you can skip the third one.
Yeah, third one doesn't exist. Wait, third one? You mean Scorpion King, or are we talking about the actual third one, which was the Jet Li one?
The Jet Li one.
Okay, yeah, they're both skippable, honestly. Yeah. But yeah.
Wait, was Scorpion King a spin-off of the Mummy movies?
Yeah, but I think they counted as the third.
What?
Sort of.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like I don't know.
Okay.
Depends how the Mummy diehards out there. They can correct us. They really keep up
the
with
Mummy diehards.
Really keep up with that lore. You can correct us, tell us which one's the actual third movie. But yeah, the environments look great in Assassin's Creed. I like the sword and shield gameplay, which is also different, being like a more emphasis on defense, the blocking and parrying with the shield, and then going in with your sword, almost like I know this gets used a lot, but it was like the Dark Souls of Assassin's Creed. And even the arrow, like kind of the slow-mo stuff where he's like jumping up and time kind of slows, remind me of Horizon Zero Dawn, actually.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed has always been kind of one of those series that is able to take elements from other stuff and kind of put their own spin on it in a way that doesn't feel quite as blatant as some other games when they take elements from others. So I can definitely see what you're getting at there.
Yeah, and so that's coming. That is coming this year. So we won't have to wait very long for that.
Sweet.
I know, right? So up next is not a new game, but arguably the most popular game to emerge of this year, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
I'm gonna be honest. I know nothing about that game.
Have you? So you know what it is, though, right? Like premise-wise, like general?
Not really, no. I've heard people talking about it and like seen posts about it, and I just haven't paid attention to it.
So it's basically, and also if you're listening and not aware, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is an early access battle royale style multiplayer, like competitive multiplayer game, where I believe it's like a grouping of 100 players get dropped on this island, and it's a last man standing fight to the death, and you're dropped in the island without any weapons, and it's a huge map, and they have a few different maps, but the map is gigantic, and there's like buildings and outposts that you can hide in, and vehicles, and there's weapons scattered all over the place, from like a frying pan to like rifle or shotguns and stuff like that. And kind of like Battle Royale or the Hunger Games, like as soon as you land, generally it's like a mad dash to try to find like the first thing you can kill someone with. And if you get killed, you're out. You're just done.
Okay.
So you gotta wait. So it keeps going until there is one person left. And as like the match progresses, the map shrinks a bit to kind of push players towards each other. But like, it's a pretty intense game because of that one death you're out thing. It's taken the world by storm, and it's easily been kind of the hottest game this year, and it's not even officially released yet. But it's been PC only until now, where PlayerUnknown himself, Brendan Green.
No, you can't say his name.
Oh, I can't say it. They said his name.
But he's unknown.
I mean, he's not on. He was unknown until they put his name on a giant 4K screen, and he walked up there.
Well, he brought that on himself.
That's true. He killed his own mystique.
Yeah,
killed his own gimmick. But it is coming to Xbox. So they said exclusively, but the way it was worded, it didn't seem like that would be a permanent thing. So it seems like, at least the impression I got, was like a timed exclusivity. But that's still a big deal.
Yeah.
That's coming to Xbox later this year, and also when the Xbox One X launches, that version of the game will also receive Xbox One quote unquote enhancements to make the experience better. But this is really cool because I personally I have a PC that's decent, but not. It's a laptop, and it's not good enough to run that game as well as it needs to be for something as competitive as that.
Yeah.
So I've been really silently begging for a console version of this to see, because I've seen videos of it. I was like, I really want to play. This looks fantastic. So this is great news for console players that have been on the outside looking in.
Cool.
And then you yourself, Jack, you can hop aboard.
Yeah.
The bandwagon.
You definitely sold me on it.
Yeah, look up some of the funniest gameplay videos of anything this year have been from that game.
Okay.
So
cool. Check it out.
A next one. This was a brief one. There's a brief showing of a game called Deep Rock Galactic. Apparently it's an exclusive. It was kind of this. Looks like a 4-player cooperative thing. It was like 4 dwarves with guns in a cave, and they were fighting bugs, kind of like Starship Troopers-esque style. It had a very polygonal look to it, like by design. It kind of reminded me of. This is going to be weird, but it kind of reminded me of the look of that Dragon Cancer.
Oh, weird.
A little bit, but like
okay.
An action game. Not much shown of it. It was just kind of them blowing away bugs, but that's a thing that's happening.
Okay.
And that could be cool.
Yeah.
But not much to say about that. Another exclusive is State of Decay 2. Got a trailer.
Okay.
They were showing off some of the community building. Getting your.
I wish I could muster enthusiasm for State of Decay.
Mm-hmm. I've heard solid things. I've heard the first game had its issues. They were kind of hoped. I heard that there was a cool idea in there.
Yeah.
And it definitely has its following. So 2, if 2 can address those complaints and kind of build on what people liked about that, it could be a pretty big thing.
Yeah.
It looked cool, but that's coming next spring. The next big thing is one of the most memorable games that I saw is the Darwin Project.
Oh yeah. I was hearing some stuff about that.
Yeah, which is going back to kind of battle royale style games kind of being popular this year. This was so the trailer showed like a dude, it's got in like an orange jumpsuit, kind of wielding an axe and like going around like sneaking, hacking people, and then like another. I'm just vaguely remembering the trailer, so if I'm off, I apologize. But like someone with an arrow coming after him, but then it transitions to like in-game footage of the lady with the arrow that was hunting him, like real-time gameplay, kind of going around hunting other players, and then it's got this commentary from like kind of like a Twitch style streaming.
Okay.
Of like someone kind of talking over the game, going, oh, yeah, he's doing like if you watch any Twitch streaming of like someone watching a multiplayer game, kind of like that.
So it's built in.
Yeah, like it looks like it was in game, but I think there might be some like actual streaming mechanic.
Interesting.
I think I could be wrong, but it looked like it. But it's kind of combining that streaming culture with that battle royale Hunger Games concept, where it's like these people are being brutally murdered and fighting to the death, but everyone's like, yeah, on the internet, like this is great, it's like even like battle royale and that and Hunger Games get the mention, but it's like Steve Austin's The Condemned. If anyone remembers that
deep
movie.
cuts.
Yeah, The Condemned is like people dropped on an island and like rich people were like betting the stipulation on how they could kill each other, like these inmates or whatever it was. But yeah, it's got kind of like a cartoony-ish style, little, I won't say like, it vaguely reminded me kind of like Team Fortress a little bit.
Okay.
The art style, so it's kind of like that lighthearted style, kind of juxtaposed with just these characters brutally murdering each other for the internet's entertainment. Yeah, but that looks cool, and let's see, that didn't seem to get a date, but next up, Minecraft. Everyone loves Minecraft. Jack doesn't like Minecraft.
No, I like Minecraft. I'm not. I find it hard to get enthusiastic about new updates to Minecraft because it's like what hasn't been updated to Minecraft?
What if I told you that Minecraft servers, so all the versions that the platforms that game's on, PC, Xbox, VR mobile. What if I told you all the servers were going to be combined?
Yeah, that's pretty
and
cool.
Everybody could play with everybody.
That's pretty cool.
Well, that's what they're doing.
Okay.
And what if that doesn't if that doesn't light your fire? What if I told you that a 4K update to the game was coming this fall?
That's pretty cool, I guess.
And what if I also told you that a new graphics update was coming, dubbed the Super Duper Graphics Pack, that's actually going to enhance the visuals of the game?
Oh my gosh!
And they showed it, and it's still they did kind of a good job. I was like, okay, are they gonna go like hyper realistic with this, which might look cool, but also kind of destroys that game's charm a bit and kind of its identity.
Mm-hmm.
But then it has to be meaningful to kind of like make people care about it. And it's, from what I say, it seems like they hit a decent middle ground where it's like looking at it, like the lighting and the, like especially the weather looks dramatically better, but it's still blocky, but the textures look sharper.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of like a really good version of what Minecraft could look like at its best without actually altering the core art style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was funny. When I was building it up, your reaction was pretty much the same reaction of everybody watching this room, and they were saying like, "Better graphics to Minecraft," and everyone attended just laughed because like, what does that mean, you know? And then they showed that trailer, like, oh, okay, all right.
I'll get on board. I'll get on board for that.
Yeah. Well, if you're a Minecraft fan, that's coming later this year.
Cool.
The Super Duper Graphics Pack. Okay. The next game that got a premiere. You like Dragon Ball Z?
It's pretty good.
Dragon Ball Z is pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
Kamehameha, Super Saiyan.
I hope they collaborated with Dragon Ball Z Abridged.
Maybe they did. I don't know about that, but who knows? But it seems like they took a cue from Marvel vs. Capcom, because there's a new game called Dragon Ball Fighter Z. I keep wanting to say Dragon Ball Z Fighters, but it's Dragon Ball Fighter Z, and it's kind of a 2D style 3v3 Dragon Ball Z game. And watching the trailer, it's got a lot of Marvel vs. Capcom, like fast-paced, kind of chaotic action, characters kind of like jumping in and out, and just really over-the-top attacks, or at least, I guess, not really over the top for Dragon Ball Z, but
it's made by the Guilty Gear people, right?
Yes, I believe so.
I have to imagine that game's going to be real solid. Those people know what they're doing.
It looked gorgeous graphically. Like, those games usually look good. Like, that cel-shaded style lends itself really well to Toriyama's art. Yeah. But this is the sharpest I think I've ever seen it look. It looked really, really nice, especially at the frantic speed that game was going. It was the first Dragon Ball Z game in a long time that I actually wanted to play.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. And it was also weird to see a Dragon Ball Z game get that kind of big stage presence.
That was the thing that stood out the most to me, because I don't think they have ever invited a Dragon Ball Z game up on a main stage for any of the big three.
Mm-hmm. So this must be something worth showing. Like, this impressed somebody at Microsoft.
Yeah, or there's something special about it.
Yeah, which is cool. And maybe if Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite doesn't do it for you, this could be the one thing to do it.
Yeah.
And that arrives early next year.
Cool.
So up next, they showed off a brief video for Black Desert, which I'm assuming is Black Desert Online, but it seems like they dropped the online. It was just called I don't know if it was called Black Desert, but above it was like the MMORPG Black Desert. So I don't know if that's the full title, but they showed a brief gameplay trailer of that, which Black Desert Online has had it's
pretty decent,
pretty fervent following. Yeah, people that like that game kind of swear by it.
Yeah,
but that's coming to Xbox One. So
I gave that game a stab once. It was pretty alright as far as MMOs go, and that's about the highest praise most MMOs get from me. So
yeah, very action oriented.
Yeah,
like the most action focused MMO that I think I've ever seen. In terms of like action kind of melee combat, kind of like doing air juggles and stuff. But if you've been curious about that and you have a console, here you go. The next game that kind of got shown was a really neat looking project called The Last Night. And by night I mean like nighttime, not like Transformers The Last Night. But it was so it was like the best way I can describe it is like pixel art meets Blade Runner, where it was this really kind of stylish trailer that showed off these really gorgeously rendered kind of like cyberpunk environments, but like 3D style. But then the characters are all 2D, like let's say like 16-bit pixel sprites.
Yeah.
But the way it was shot, it was almost like two different planes where like the pixel art characters were in the foreground and all that stuff was in the background. It reminded me, I don't know if you remember that Square game that's coming out that I forgot Square showed it, but it's like a new RPG that they're publishing that they showed once, or it was like the same style. It was like
I want to say Infinite Undiscovery, but I know that's not right.
no, it's a new game. Like it hasn't come out yet.
Yeah,
they showed it,
but it has a weird name like that.
Yeah, it's got some weird Japanese RPG game published by Square.
Yeah.
So, but it reminded me a lot of that, but like a Blade Runner-y style, and I'm not sure what kind of style of game it's supposed to be. It had kind of a brief trailer.
It's supposed to be like a cinematic platformer, so kind of like Another World.
Okay.
So like the kind of platformer that hasn't been around for a while.
Okay.
You don't see many like that.
And a good year, I guess, for something like that with a new Blade Runner coming out.
Yeah.
So people
good timing.
Jazzed about that style. But yeah, that looked really, really cool. And then immediately following that was another really cool game, and maybe the most bizarre game to show. It's called The Artful Escape. And the only way I can describe this was that it was like this 2D kind of platformer with this Gordon Freeman looking guy. It was like this dude with glasses and like kind of an astronaut suit, but he's got kind of like a Adventure Timey-esque squiggly body, kind of frolicking across a town. And then at one point he plays this guitar and weird stuff starts happening. They zoom into his eyes, and then it leads to like this transition and where like a kind of pink skull thing or something, like a head opens up, and I think he's inside of it.
I think you need to go to bed, Marcus.
It's weird. Like I remember.
I think you hallucinated this game. It's not real.
Sitting in the audience, we're all just looking at each other like, "What is this?" It looked cool though. Like the art style looked really, really nice. It's just like, what are we watching? So yeah, look up that trailer. Do yourself a favor and look up The Artful Escape and see. It's one of those things that kind of has to be seen to believe. But that's a thing that's happening. Following that was a very brief trailer for Code Vein, which was previously announced.
You mean anime Bloodborne?
Anime Bloodborne,
yeah,
pretty much. Which looks pretty cool. They showed like a new little gameplay trailer in that, and just kind of reiterated like, "Hey, this is coming next year." But not much to say other than that. It was really kind of an in and out trailer.
Yeah.
And then that was followed by Sea of Thieves, which got a long gameplay demo.
I'm still not sold on Sea of Thieves.
They
had a long gameplay demo last year too.
This one was better, yeah. I'd say. It had more variety. Like they showed off. So it started with your crew on the ship, and then the protagonist or the player character following the other crew members who are also, real world people that you're playing with, diving underwater to go find a sunken ship and exploring that and finding treasure. And like, okay. And then the event, it transitioned to them seeking out an island on a map and sailing to a desert island and exploring it on foot. And during that, Rare kind of touted that the islands would have secret paths and other areas to explore to find treasure. And at one point, skeletons emerged from the ground with muskets, and he shot some skeletons.
Like, on paper, I'm sure all of this sounds great. I just, seeing other people play it doesn't, for some reason with this game in particular, doesn't sell me on it.
Is this, yeah.
I would need to play it with a group of my friends.
Yeah.
To figure out if we actually enjoy playing it.
Yeah. Not. I haven't played it. I didn't get to play it last year at E3, but it's definitely one of those games that it seems like you have to play yourself to really gauge if you're going to like this or not.
Yeah.
Because it has such an emphasis on multiplayer. Like, it's a big shared world, so it's you and your friends, but there's also other people and their own pirate crews, which on paper sounds cool. You and your friends taking on another ship with a group of people and battling it out.
Mm-hmm.
And it could either be really fun or really hilarious.
Yeah.
Especially, depending on who your friends are. But they showed off, like, the combat doesn't look amazing. I think a lot of that game's charm is going to be that friend element of just goofing around and, like, let's just go sail around and just shoot people and be idiots on the sea.
Yeah.
But the gameplay showed like a cool segment where you go find an underground cave and you're exploring and you find a treasure and you have to physically haul the treasure back to your ship, and then more skeletons and then other rival pirates show up and try to stop you and take it from you. The coolest part of that trailer was they get the treasure back to their ship, and as soon as they embark, a group of players in the ship show up and try to sink you guys. So you get into this really intense naval battle, and there's this big storm going on. And then the player character jumps into a cannon, like shoves his body into a cannon and fires himself over onto the other ship and just mows down the opposing crew single-handedly. Like, just goes top deck, then goes bottom, and just wipes everyone out by himself. And then jumps back and goes back to his ship.
Nice.
Like, he just solos an entire crew.
That sounds fun. That right there sounds fun.
I was like, okay, that seems cool. So, yeah, like, but I need to play it. I need to play it myself to really kind of gauge if I'm going to like this or not. And hopefully it works. Hopefully there's enough there.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of content. But that's arriving early next year, which I believe is the first real window that game has ever had.
Yeah. It's never really been given a solid window.
And then right after that, Tacoma, which is Fulbright. Follow-up to Gone Home. That got a brief new trailer, but we did get an August 2nd release date out of that. So that's another game that's I think got like 1 or 2 delays.
Yeah.
So
it's worth having on your radar though if you're a fan of kind of indie stuff,
like narrative-driven adventures. And of course, if you like Gone Home, this looks cool. I'm looking forward to Tacoma.
Yeah.
So, not much to say other than that. One of the biggest surprises was the reveal of a sequel to Lucky's Tale.
I don't know what that is.
Lucky's Tale was one of the Oculus Rift launch titles. It was a platformer, kind of like a throwback to old school 3D platformers. It starred a cartoony, cute fox. And
oh, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
Remember that?
Yeah, you're ringing a bell.
Yeah, so this is getting a new sequel. I don't think it's going to be have any VR support. It seems like it's just going to be a traditional 3D platformer. It's called Super Lucky's Tale. And it was funny. I think everyone was like you, where they forgot that game existed until the title came up. Everyone thought it was like a new thing. Like, oh, look at this cool fox. And you're like, Super... Oh yeah, that was a game.
That was a thing.
But I think because it was in VR, like 5 people played it.
Yeah.
So, but I'm a huge fan of platformers, so that kind of it scratched a lot of itches for me watching that. I was like, all right, it's got a nice, colorful aesthetic. It looked fun, just really cheery. It switches from like 3D to 2D side-scrolling camera views at some point. A lot of collectibles, it looks like. So I'm always down for any new 3D platformers, especially in that vein.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
If nothing else, this game will have more of an audience since it seems to be out of VR entirely now.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they could include a VR element to it, but I understand why they wouldn't if doing that in the first place. I assume the reason they moved away from VR is because it didn't do very well for them.
Yeah, and no fault of their own, just more of like the install base for the Oculus is not where they'd like it to be.
Yeah.
But Super Lucky's Tale is coming November 7th.
Okay.
Same day as the Xbox One X.
Yep.
And a few other games. Next up, one of the happiest announcements that I got was Cuphead.
Yeah, finally. Cuphead
has a release date. Finally, September 29th. That game is happening.
Yeah.
And they showed a new trailer, but honestly, at that point, I was like, I don't need to see any more of this game. I've seen enough. I know what this is. I've played it. I liked it. All I needed was that date, and that's what they gave me. So I was like, there we go.
Yep. Cuphead was one of those games I was worried about would be essentially finished and just never come out because of like it would fall into like some obscure legal battle or something.
Mm-hmm. Really? With who? Like just?
I just like that just seems like something that would happen to Cuphead.
It's like Disney's like wait or something. And
Yeah.
It's like somehow we have a problem with this.
Yeah.
But yeah. So September 29th, Cuphead is happening. So, and then right after that, Terry Crews popped up on screen.
Crackdown 3.
Yeah, wearing Crackdown 3 armor, and he yelled at us in, that classic Terry Crews style of just screaming and being really funny about doing that. And by the way, my prediction, right? Crackdown 3 was at the show.
Yep.
So I got that. But, yeah, not much to say other than Terry Crews. He's voicing I believe, the protagonist in that game. But it got a big sizzle reel, which I don't know if they showed this in the stream, but like during that sizzle reel, like live pyro was going off on stage, just to really run home how ridiculous and bombastic that game is.
Okay.
But yeah, Crackdown 3 is coming November 7th as well, which I would imagine.
So Project Scorpio launch title, kind of.
Yeah, it feels like it.
Yeah.
Power to Cloud.
Yeah, you were pretty right on with that prediction.
Gotcha. Pat myself in the back.
Yep.
And then after that, there was kind of the standard ID at Xbox kind of indie reel, just saying like, hey, these are indie games that are coming out.
Yeah, a bunch of indie games.
Yeah, some stuff that I think most of these games were announced previously. There's only a few that I didn't recognize, but most of them, like, I think the only one that kind of caught my eye was Hello Neighbor, because I believe, as far as prior to this, I thought that was only on PC.
Okay.
But seems like this coming to Xbox as well. But it also showed like Conan Exiles, Observer, Robotech, Oblitz, Riverbond, Fates, Fortune.
Yeah, I think Microsoft kind of inflates their indie category by pulling stuff in that was made for PC.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of those, there are a lot of unexpected surprises in there.
Yeah.
From PC.
Mm-hmm.
But it's nice to see them on console too.
And then right after that, they showed a trailer for a cool-looking game called Ashen. And I'm trying to think of how to describe this game. It had a cool little art style, kind of, how do I describe this? Kind of minimalist a little bit, but I don't know if that's the right word I want to use. It kind of reminded me a bit of that game Absolver that's coming out, the fighter, a little bit.
Yeah.
But it was a really kind of cryptic trailer a little bit. It just showed, I think, the character kind of like fighting these weird monsters, and it had a very mysterious kind of tone, kind of dark feel to it.
Okay.
But pretty much it was just that this is happening. It didn't get a release date. So yeah, I recommend checking out that trailer for Ashen.
Those are always mysterious and kind of fun.
Yeah, mysterious. And then we got Life is Strange. The rumored follow-up
Yes.
was confirmed, but it is a prequel.
Yeah. Or is it? Because with time travel, things can get crazy.
I mean, it could be. Though, as it is, so it's a prequel. It's called Life is Strange Before the Storm, and it stars Chloe Price, who is the best friend of the protagonist of Life is Strange, Max Caulfield, and more or less the central point of the original Life is Strange story for the most part, honestly, and very popular character. So she's getting her own follow-up story, but this is kind of talking about her past in the years before when her and Max had lost touch, and so detailing, I guess, some of the maybe things that kind of caused her to become the kind of rebellious, aloof girl that you meet when Life is Strange begins. She doesn't have her blue hair yet or anything. And
so, do you think it's going to be more of a character drama?
Yeah, I mean the first game.
Yeah, but the first game also had like weird stuff like time travel.
Yeah, but the thing about the first game is that the time travel's there, but it's almost kind of like it isn't quite the focus for a lot of it until maybe towards the end. It's more of like a high school kind of teen drama that also happens to have this supernatural element, but it doesn't dominate it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like this teen girl that's dealing with all these issues and then using her powers to try to fix or deal with them, while also dealing with this larger kind of apocalyptic threat that is slowly encroaching them.
So yeah, only a little bit to do with time travel.
A little bit until the end, and then the end it gets a little like, oh, okay, this is a thing.
Yeah.
But this game, because they didn't show any supernatural stuff with this trailer, which makes sense because Chloe didn't have those powers. So it makes me wonder if it's going to be present at all. I mean, it's only, you can make the argument that it doesn't necessarily have to define that series.
Yeah.
Because it's only the second game, and maybe they're doing kind of like almost like a Zelda 2 approach of like, we're just going to change things up with this second one because it's only been one game, so we can mess with this.
Yeah.
It's only going to be 3 episodes as opposed to 5.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is, I think, is smart because like, I'm excited for this. I'm a big fan of Life is Strange. But at the same time, I was like, I don't know how much of a story there is to tell with this.
Yeah.
With Chloe, you kind of learn a good deal about her. Not that there isn't more to tell, but especially so Rachel Amber, who, if you played Life is Strange, you know, was the best friend of Chloe during the years that her and Max were not in contact, and then Rachel kind of became her new best friend. And then by the beginning of Life is Strange, she has gone missing under kind of like some foul play suspected.
Okay. Twin Peaks up in here.
Pretty much, yeah. Like everyone's like, what happened to her? And that's one of the mysteries that you uncover in Life is Strange. But the thing about that is that by the end of that game, you learn pretty much all there is to know about her. So I mean, I don't know how tantalizing that any mystery with her would be in a prequel of like, hey, let's see what, other than getting to see firsthand her and Chloe's relationship.
Yeah.
And seeing as they got close, that's cool. But that mystery of like, hey, maybe we could see what happened to her. It's like, no, you know what happens.
Yeah.
So, but episode 1 of that happens in August. I don't remember the day.
That's fine.
I want to say 13.
13.
That sounds right.
Sure.
Let's just say that August 13th, or it's August. Episode 1 of 3 hits. But yeah, after that, they showed a Shadow of War, Middle-earth Shadow of War gameplay.
Yep.
Honestly, not much to say. It was kind of lengthy, but it also wasn't anything you wouldn't expect from a Middle-earth demo. You know, 2 orcs fighting each other, and then Talion shows up and fights the orc and takes over his mind, and orc becomes your buddy and says, hey, let's go take that fort down. And you're like, all right, let's do that. And
I'm interested to see where they take all of that, because they had a really solid foundation in the first Shadow of Mordor, and Shadow of War could do interesting things. I don't know enough about it yet to say if it is going in that direction or if it's just going to be kind of more of the same.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing that they're touting with this is the improved Nemesis system where you can have orc allies and kind of like build friendships with them. So like kind of like the original gameplay demo where like, oh, you save this one orc and now you can make him your like right-hand dude. And then the more he helps you, the closer you guys get, where like there'll be situations depending on like who you help or how close you are with your orcs that they can save your ass during.
I mean, that sounds cool.
Yeah, like there's that cool cutscene of like you're fighting a boss, and like right before he lands the killing blow, your buddy shows up and like intervenes, which might not happen to everyone, but because you had that one particular guy, he's like, "Hey, I'm here!" Like a kind of a Deus Ex Machina moment.
Yeah.
And you're like, "Oh, okay, that's kind of cool." Kind of pay off your relationship there.
Yeah.
So that could be cool. I mean,
some neat emergent storytelling moments.
Exactly. It seems like they'll be getting more of that with this one. So I'm interested in seeing it, but the demo wasn't really anything out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
So, but the next game that was shown that was up there for a big excitement was a sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest,
Dang.
which is one of my favorite games of this generation.
Really?
I love that game.
Okay. You did say you're a sucker for platformers.
I love platformers. I like challenging platformers, and I love Metroidvanias, and that was all of that. With
checked all the boxes.
And then had an amazing art style to boot.
Yeah.
So, a sequel to that is coming. It's called Ori and the Will of the Wisp.
That's a clever title.
I know. I had to stop myself from saying Will o' the Wisp.
Yeah.
But no gameplay was shown, but that's probably a good idea because it's like you probably know what this is going to be.
Yeah.
But they settled for a really, really, really sad story trailer where they.
I thought they milked all the sad out of the first one.
So the forest, believe it or not, is in danger again.
Oh, really? Who
Yep.
would have thought?
Nibel is not safe permanently. Something happens. You see a big violent storms going on, and the forest is on fire.
Oh,
and then the kicker is the end of the trailer. We see this little baby owl looking around by himself, and he's all distressed.
Oh, no.
Picks up a feather, and then Ori he walks up, and he's all depressed too. His ears are down.
Oh.
And he comforts the little baby owl, and then they look in the background, and they see like what I'm assuming is like the owl's parents or like his peeps, and they're all dead.
His peeps.
Yeah, peeps. I didn't even try to do
that.
that. But yeah, he sees his whole owl crew, not even just dead, like super dead. Like they look like they've been dead forever. They're like skeleton.
Oh gosh.
And it's really sad. It's just like this little owl is like he's about
graveyard.
Yeah, you're like, what happened? And I'm did you play the first?
I didn't.
Okay. So, but like sort of the antagonist of the game was, I believe, Kujo or Kuja. I want to say Kujo because Kujo is the Final Fantasy IX villain.
Yeah.
It was this like evil owl, but turned out that owl was more misunderstood than bad, and he kind of
secret.
You learn
melting his heart
when you find exactly when you find out why the owl is a jerk. It makes sense. Yeah. You're like, okay, I get it. So I don't know if this owl is the child of Kujo or not, and Kujo's dead. That was the first thing that came to mind. Or if it's, it could be another owl that's unrelated, but I'd be shocked if the owl from the first game was not involved in this in some way.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm happy to see that game getting a follow-up, because I really adore that first game.
Yeah.
And, that didn't get a release date yet, unfortunately. But next was not a games announcement, but, well, I guess sort of in a way. So, backwards compatibility on Xbox One. It's been kind of a success for them. They've been doing a very good job with that. There's a lot of 360 games on there, but what if I told you that now you can play original Xbox games?
Oh my god!
On your Xbox One. You get to see that intro that you've missed with the green glooby.
Oh yeah, the green gloobs.
The green box opening up and makes the
good old blue box.
I know. So original Xbox titles are coming to backwards compatibility, and the first game that they announce is one of the most requested games from fans, Crimson Skies.
Yes, I have that game.
The very first game that it's coming.
Yeah.
Which, if that's not fan service.
Well, true fan service would just be making another Crimson Skies.
Maybe they will. Maybe this is the litmus test.
Yeah.
Say let's see if people are into this, and then if they are, we can. What better way to build hype for a new one than releasing So
true.
Nothing's possible. We're getting a new Bubsy, so who knows we're gonna get.
What a time to be alive!
Hey, if we can get a new Bubsy, then we can get another Crimson Skies. But yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Let's see, and
you're just going down the list.
Yes, I am at this point. Let's see. And that was actually more or less it for the well, actually there was one more big game that was shown. And that was Anthem. Which wrapped up Microsoft's
Iron
event.
Man.
Iron Man meets Destiny meets Attack on Titan meets Titanfall meets Mass Effect.
It does seem like quite the mashing of different things.
It looked like a cool mash, though.
Yeah.
So that gameplay demo, it started off with, so the heroes that you play are known as freelancers, and they kind of protect their settlement of humanity's last remaining, I guess, peoples who live within this walled society that keeps out these deadly monsters, but they are the ones that go out there and...
Come on, Last of Humanity. Stop gathering in one spot in a giant walled city. It doesn't end well for you. There's always going to be something that breaches the wall.
Nothing breaches the wall.
Every story I've ever seen with anything that has a wall in it, that wall is going to get breached. Mulan.
That's
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's true.
What other walls?
Did you see the Wall movie with Matt Damon? Did that wall get breached? They tried to breach the wall, but did they actually get through?
The Bourne Identity?
No. The Matt Damon movie where he's like in the Great Wall of China.
Oh.
And he's fighting
probably
dragons or monsters and stuff.
I didn't see that movie.
Yeah. I think it's called The Great Wall.
It is called The Great Wall.
Okay. I don't know if they actually got through or not, or if Matt Damon was able to fend them off.
It looked like there were a lot of those creatures, so I gotta assume
but it's
a few
Matt.
of them made
It's
it
Matt
over.
Damon though. Jason Bourne.
Apparently,
keeps
he's like
them
a
out.
minor. He's not even like the main character of the movie.
It's probably true. So basically, Matt Damon needs to be an Anthem and keep out these monsters in his Iron Man suit.
Sure.
But
why not?
Yeah, the gameplay looked cool. Like, I mean, the flying around in the suit immediately got my attention because it's pretty much already the best Iron Man game that's ever been made.
Is it open world?
Maybe. It wasn't clear. I wasn't sure if it was truly open world or if it was like open hubs.
Yeah.
Kind of like Mass Effect or Witcher 2 in that style.
Yeah.
But there was one point where the character finds a new area and is awarded XP for discovering that area, which to me kind of suggests that it could be a more open world to kind of... Because, you know, why reward XP? Yeah, like, hey, go look for stuff.
Right.
I hope so, at least. But they showed that you could fly underwater. It's pretty neat.
That's pretty cool.
You dive in the water and fly it around and pop back up. And they showed off... I don't know if there's only two classes, but the two classes they showed was the Ranger, which is kind of the balanced class, and then the Colossus, which is the heavy.
There must be at least a third.
Yeah, they do. Maybe. I would hope so.
Yeah.
But just showing two players working together to take out some enemies. Like the Colossus shot rockets from its back, and then the Freelancer, or the Ranger rather, had like a multi-target kind of rocket barrage. And
very Iron Man. Very Iron Man.
Pretty much. Like you saw like the boop, 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 which is targeting all the dudes and just unleashing just hell upon them. But it looked... I was entertained by it. I was like, I want to try this. Yeah, I'm still trying to get a complete grasp of what that game is.
Yeah, I'm worried BioWare is reaching outside of its forte. I'm not sure how well this game will lend itself to allowing BioWare to kind of play to its strengths, like storytelling strengths and RPG strengths.
Yeah.
This seems more like a loot grind, like Destiny, than anything they've made before. So.
Yeah. Well, it seemed like there's loot, but there's also a little bit more emphasis on leveling and experience. Like a lot of the guns had levels on them. I don't know if you're locked out of a gun unless you're a certain level or not.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It kind of had it had a little bit more RPG to it. At least from my perspective, than like Destiny, which makes sense because BioWare is kind of an RPG studio.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if that's kind of the way they take it, I think that's probably better, but we'll see.
Yeah, and that's coming next year.
All right.
At some point. But yeah, that was pretty much Microsoft's event.
And then for Bethesda, which we saw later today, Bethesda really only had like 4 main things.
Yeah, Bethesda was very short and sweet. They were in and out, which...
They did not overstay their welcome.
They did not. They knew what they were gonna do, and they're like, all right, here's this, this, and this. So this actually will not be take too long to get through, but they started off by announcing VR versions of Doom and
Cool.
Fallout 4.
Totally on board with those.
Fallout 4 had been previously announced. Doom was a new thing.
There were some rumors that was going to be a thing, but nothing confirmed.
I feel like Doom VR is like the recipe for an aneurysm.
or some motion sickness.
For sure. How fast that game moves, if you can just like process that.
Maybe it
VR.
slows down for.
But then it wouldn't
VR.
be Doom if it slows down.
But
it seems like you can't.
You're right. It would be Doom VR.
Yeah, like it seems like you can't do one without the other. Like if you either gotta like, do you sacrifice Doom speed, which is the main thing of that makes Doom for VR, or do you just say screw it, we're gonna do Doom, we're doing Doom VR, and then deal with it. Hopefully you don't vomit immediately.
Yeah.
So that'll be a fun thing to try, maybe.
Yeah.
I loved Doom last year, one of my favorite games. So see how it is, and then Fallout 4 VR, pretty much not much to say. It's Fallout 4 in VR.
I feel like that would work better for VR than Doom.
Yeah,
so.
And that's coming this year. Doom does not have a date as of yet.
Yeah. Not surprising.
But then they follow that with a Elder Scrolls Legends update, which is their take on the
digital card game stuff.
That released early this year, but they're doing a Heroes of Skyrim expansion.
Cool.
Which is bringing over 150 new cards based on Skyrim, including some heroes. The only one that stood out to me was getting a J'zargo. Yeah, J'zargo getting his own card. Finally.
After all this time.
Who doesn't love J'zargo?
And then they had an update for Morrowind.
Yes.
For
Elder Scrolls Online.
Elder Scrolls Online. Not a whole lot to say there.
Morrowind.
ESO, Morrowind.
It's happening.
Then
they showed off Skyrim on Switch.
Yeah.
Including a really kind of mind-breaking thing where they showed off Legend of Zelda kind of assets or skins that you can get for your Skyrim character, which tripped me out because
you can be Link in Skyrim now.
And it's like Breath of the Wild Link.
Yep.
At least, I mean, I don't know if there'll be other skins, but that's the skin that they showed, which cracked me up and tripped me up at the same time. It's like Breath of the Wild was more or less Zelda's take on Skyrim, and now Skyrim has Zelda stuff in it. And like, there's a scene where like the Link-clad warriors riding a horse through this, big open world, and they're like, didn't we just kind of get this? Like it's like a weird full circle kind of thing. It was like, I don't know what to make of this, because we kind of got this with Zelda, but then Skyrim kind of did it first anyway, but now they're going back and paying homage to Zelda, so it's like a realistic Breath of the Wild, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny, especially when you consider like would you buy Skyrim on the Switch when you already own Breath of the Wild? Like, you have both of these big open world games that are somewhat similar. They have their big differences, but design wise, there's some that big open world and stuff like that. But hey, cool.
And then we got kind of the bread and butter of Bethesda's conference, which was
well, first off, kicking that off was Dishonored.
Oh, right.
Dishonored's getting its first. Dishonored 2 is getting its first standalone.
And that looked awesome.
It did.
It's a standalone story DLC that focuses on the pirate captain companion.
Yeah.
She has an eye patch.
Megan.
Billy?
Well, her real name's Billy Lurk. You knew her as like Morgan or Megan or something, but she was the boat captain with the missing arm, who was kind of had a shady past in Dishonored 2. But she's so it's focused on her, and you're rescuing Dodd, the famous assassin from the first game's standalone expansion of Knife of Dunwall,
Yeah.
which was a very good
And
expansion for Dishonored 1.
this expansion is called The Death of the Stranger?
Death of the Outsider. So the premise of this is that you, as Billy Lurk, you're rescuing Dodd, who is her mentor, and you two are gonna go try to kill the Outsider.
I'm sure that's gonna end well.
Who is the mysterious entity that has guided Corvo and Emily.
Essentially some kind of deity figure.
Yeah, I don't know what he is really, like a god, spirit, demon man.
Yeah.
Like a really helpful demon. But
all that seems cool. I'm on board with that.
I like Dishonored, so more Dishonored is great. And her powers are cool. She had like the trailer showed her having like this teleportation ability where she's zipping past walls, and she's got her mechanical arm that can electrify people.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right.
Yeah.
And she's got like a Kano laser eye, because why not?
And so we had that, and then we had the Evil Within 2.
Yes.
Yep.
Which was pretty exciting. So I like the Evil Within.
Yeah.
It's not a perfect game. It had its flaws.
It's a different game.
Yeah, it was different but familiar. It was obviously an obvious callback to Resident Evil 4.
Yep.
Which is, that's a fantastic game.
That's not a bad thing.
Yeah, like I'll take more of that.
Yeah.
But more psychological than Resident Evil, like the horror.
Yeah.
And it had its moments of being legitimately scary. Mainly that spider grudge lady that keeps appearing in the game, who was apparently back in this one based on the ending of that trailer. But Sebastian, how do you pronounce his last name? Dan Castellana. I can't even say his name.
It's way too late.
It's too late to pronounce that name. But he's back in this one, and kind of his motive or his drive in this one is that his late daughter Lily is apparently proposed to be alive.
Oh, okay.
So he kind of has to re-enter that insane world again to try to see if he can find his daughter.
Okay.
And it looks as ridiculous and insane as the first game, if not more so. I hope that one of my main gripes of the first game was actually the protagonist. He was a bit too straight-faced. He took things way too well, given things that were happening, and it kind of killed some of the scares, because like something would happen and I'd be like, oh my god, but he would just kind of like brush it off like yeah, or like
I've seen this before.
Or he'd just be like, well, that was weird. And like, no, it's actually that was terrifying.
Rib cage open.
Yeah, like he would see the spider grudge lady and he just like, oh, you don't see that every day or whatever. Like that's basically his reaction. I was like, I'd be flipping out. It's like, look around you, react to this. So I'm hoping. I mean, the trailer kind of showed him, kind of recovering from that ordeal. I believe it's set 3 years after the events of the first game. So he seems a little bit more traumatized, a little bit damaged, which makes sense given what he went through in that first game. So maybe he'll kind of like behave appropriately, I guess. In this one, I should hope. But that looks good. I'm excited to see that game get another shot, and we won't have to wait long for that because that's coming October 13th.
Cool.
Just in time for Halloween.
And the last game.
Which I also predicted.
You did.
I did. Wolfenstein.
Yes.
2. The New Colossus.
The New Colossus.
So this took up the bulk of their presentation. With the last game they showed, and they got the longest trailer.
Not surprising.
Not surprising. That first game was a surprise.
Yeah.
One of arguably the most pleasant surprise of this generation.
Yeah. It was so good.
It was so good.
I don't know how to use words.
I really don't know of anyone that expected much of that game when it was coming out. I certainly didn't.
No. I had low expectations going in, and it by far exceeded them.
And this one looks to be more of that and arguably better. So BJ Blazkowicz is back. Apparently he survived his wounds at the end of the first game. But unfortunately, killing Death Shed didn't quite do it. Nazis still control the world, but
Yep.
now he's bringing the fight to America, which
Well, he also has kids.
he has kids on the way. His
Yep.
girlfriend Anya is preggo
Yep.
with twins.
Yep.
He awakens. He awakens from another coma. He
It's-
keeps getting into comas.
And this time he's like, "Oh, I have kids now, and gosh dang it, they're gonna grow up not being Nazis."
Yeah, and not only his kids, but now he's in America. He's back
Yeah.
home. The first game he was in Europe trying to help them, but now, they stated in the first game that America had been occupied by Germany, but now you get to see it, and it's pretty terrifying looking. Like you kind of see all the familiar kind of American iconography and culture just completely twisted by the Nazis' presence and influence.
I'm totally blanking. How did BJ end up in this alternate reality? Was it always the alternate reality from the beginning?
Like how they won the war? Well,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly, the
He fell
Nazis.
into a coma.
Yeah, because like the Nazis won the war because of some like ancient technology that they found that was far more advanced than the Allies,
Yeah.
and that's how they forced him into a surrender. And then I don't remember how he got into the coma. I just remember that opening mission where you're infiltrating the thing, and then you have to choose which one of your dudes
Yeah.
gets turned into a robot monster man, and then coma, and then wake up, and then the world's gone to hell. So I don't think
Okay.
I don't think there was any like time travel. I think he just
It was
he just
already-
missed out on
yeah,
everything that
okay.
happened.
Okay.
Like during his sleep, they won the war.
Yeah.
And then I'd forgotten about this, but that trailer reminded me that at one point in the New Order, you go to the moon.
Yep.
And then I was like, that was totally a thing that happened. You go
Yep.
to space at one point, and
Yep.
you get into a moon battle,
That
and
was
then you come back there. And then it made me happy because I realized like that game is somehow so ridiculous, but it is so grounded in its human drama at the same time.
Yeah.
I
It
don't know.
goes places.
I don't know how they pulled that off, but this game seems to kind of continue that tone of like, this is really dark and emotional, but it's also got like,
Mechanized flamethrower dogs.
yeah, and just even there's like some humor in this, and I'm
Yeah.
like, how do you find humor in this world? But they somehow make it work, and they did that with the first game too.
Yeah.
So BJ, pretty much the premise is BJ going around trying to assemble pockets of American resistance to unite and launch kind of like a desperate attempt to rid the Nazis, or to rid America of the Nazis. They showed off some new characters, a couple returning ones. The only ones I remembered or recognized outside of Anya was the big, kind of dopey, strong guy from the first game. I
Yeah.
don't remember his name, but he's back in this, and the gunplay looked really good, like really, really, really good. Like I wanted to pick it up and play that second good.
Yeah.
Like mowing down robots and a crocodile and dual wielding. Just it looked like the weight behind those shots. Like I just wanted to pick up Wolfenstein and just replay the whole game. Watching that trailer, it looked that good.
Well, I just want to lay down and sleep because I am literally falling asleep as we were talking. I'm totally exhausted. But before we finish up for the night, I do have just one last thing to shout out. Devolver Digital, I don't know what you're doing. I tried to watch the Devolver Digital pre E3 show, and I don't know what games they showed were actually games and what games were just jokes that they threw together. They had several. It went on for over 2 hours, this show, and they had skit after skit of people coming on and giving heartfelt and or hilarious and or horrifying skits,
Mm-hmm.
and it was great and weird, and I liked it, but also it was weird. I was too tired to enjoy all of it. I had to shut it
I
off.
was like too tired to process
Yeah.
that.
Like I turned it. I ended up turning it off, and I turned it back on a little bit later, and they were in the middle of watching like a canceled pilot for a fake 80s like family sitcom.
Yep.
It was weird.
It sounded weird. I heard bits and pieces of it in the next room, and every time I kind of like listened, I was like, "What is happening over there? Like, what are they doing?"
As far as anything I learned from that press conference, I learned that there is a somewhat amusing game called Frog Smashers. I don't know if it's like going to actually be sold anywhere or if it's just a game jam game that they had laying around. I learned that there's a movie called Boone the Bounty Hunter, which I guess is a parody of Dog the Bounty Hunter, but it's a feature-length film. I don't know how that exists, but it exists.
Boone the Bounty Hunter. I do know about that.
What?
Because former WWE wrestler John Morrison is in it. He's like the long-haired guy with the great abs.
Yep.
Yeah,
he was on the stream.
Yeah, he's. Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Devolver Digital. He came on there.
I liked him.
Yeah.
WWE. He wrestles in Lucha Underground now. Last I checked, but yeah, I remember watching an interview and he was talking about that. Didn't know that was gonna be at Devolver.
Yeah, they also had a kaiju wrestling match in the middle of that.
The John Morrison fight, the kaiju.
It could be possible. There were a lot of people fighting in costume.
Okay. We do Starship Pain.
It was... I guess if you are looking for something weird on the internet, the Devolver Digital show was definitely up there. Very much worth watching if you're not in an obscenely tired state.
Yeah, I'm interested to see the internet's reaction to
that. I saw one person was tweeting, like, the internet has given me a very high tolerance for weirdness, but Devolver Digital broke me. Something like that. Mm-hmm. It got weird. Anyway, to wrap up, Extra Life is great. You should go check it out at extra-life.org. You can raise money to help kids, sick and injured kids in hospitals. It is wonderful. 100% of all the money you raise goes directly to the hospital you choose to support when you register. So head on over there and check back tomorrow. We'll have another recap for you at the end of the day.
Tomorrow we got PC Gaming Show.
Yep, we got
Sony.
Yep.
And
Ubisoft. And I'm sure there are probably going to be a few other announcements thrown in there from other places too. Like today there's a new Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer. You should go check that out.
Hercules.
You know, and you can also, if you're curious about any of the stuff we mentioned, a lot of it is going to be winding up on the community Extra Life website, which you can find at community.extra-life.org. So check that out for more details.
Alrighty, Jack. We're going to go to bed now.
I'm going to pass out.